things over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. So indeed, yeah, the session is let's become road warriors with the Teams mobile app. Now, of course, when I thought about this, that was pre-Corona days. So we actually need to change this up into like become work from home warriors these days. But still, when you're working from home, there's so much value that you can still have on that Teams mobile app. So just a few things before we go on. I'm just working with one screen, so I can't see the chat. So if you do have any questions, feel free to just interrupt me. It might be that the bandwidth might sometimes drop a little bit. I'm very sorry for that. But I will do my best to make this a proper, good session. I've got tons of demos for you, but first, the most important slide is this one, of course. It's my favorite topic. No, to be honest, this is just me. I've been doing lots of SharePoint work before, and now doing a lot of Teams things. You might know me from the Office 365 Distilled podcast. That is me and my business partner, Steve Dalby, where we just talk about technology for an hour, and then we always end with a whiskey tasting. So some people say that we should do the whiskey tasting before we talk about technology. We tried that. That doesn't work very well. Oh well. And then I also have like this YouTube series called Blaming the End User with my friend Jussi Mori, who is the craziest Finnish person I know. And we just try to blame all the adoption issues on the end user, which we fail, of course. And we always end up saying that it's our own fault. So that's all about me. Let's get to the real stuff. So as I said, I've got a number of demos for you. So I will be switching to my phone a lot of times. If at some point I'm telling you that I'm demoing something and I didn't switch to my phone, that means that I effed up. So please feel free to tell me that I'm doing it wrong. So let's start. So, of course, you all know Teams as the hub for teamwork, and even with the mobile app, it's same thing. So it can do like 90% of all the things that you can do with your client app as well. So it allows you to communicate to other people. It allows you to work together with people in your department, in your project team, whatever, just like you can do on the client app as well. It allows you to extend that application just as you can do with your client app as well. So you can have third-party apps installed, or you can use apps just like, for example, Shifts is one of the apps that we will talk about later on as well. And you can do all that with the confidence that you're still working in Office 365. So all the compliance rules, all the security, everything is still in place. So you can be sure that you're still working in that safe environment. So with that said, let's first go to my first demo on my phone. So disclaimer, I am using an Android phone. If you have an iPhone, your experience might be slightly different, but it's 99% same stuff. So first, before we start, you will of course see my Teams logo here. So if I long press that Teams button, I actually got this little nice extra feature, and I can see my chat and my calendar, stuff like that. And I can actually drag these out and have these appear as their own icons. So I just have like these quick links for my chat and my calendar and stuff like that. So that saves me 1 or 2 clicks if I want to. So if we open up Teams, the mobile app, I assume that you are all working with Teams already, that you all know how Teams works. If that's not the case, let me know. So in the Teams client app, you have your left rail navigation. In the mobile app, you have that navigation on the bottom of your screen. And you typically have the same things that you have in your Teams. So you've got your activity, you've got your chat, your Teams, and then your calls, and then some other buttons. And I like to call this an application drawer, because if I click on that more button, it actually opens up that drawer, and I've got tons of other buttons that I can use. So on the bottom, I've got the activity, chat, Teams, calls. But what if I don't use the calls functionality? So maybe I am using files much more than I'm using calls. So maybe I just want to have files appear there. I can just do that with the reorder functionality here. And now I can just drag that files button all the way up here. And for example, I can drop that calls button. I can click on save. And now my bottom navigation, that application drawer, is now changed. And now I have my files button there. Yeah. So it's super easy to just customize that the way how you want it to appear. For example, you're not using files, but you're using shifts. Okay, so you can just have your shifts up there. So super easy. And then let's talk about how the app kind of behaves. So you've got those the menu lines on the left top that will bring out a very interesting settings setup. So my number one thing that I love about the Teams mobile app is that I can directly see all the tenants and all the accounts that I've set up. So instead of with the client app on my laptop, I can only see all the tenants that are linked to that account that I'm logged in with. But here you can definitely see, so the first ones are all with my email address, marijn@man365coach.be, while down below I also have my Gmail account linked, and I've got my other accounts linked there as well. And the beauty of this is that I can just click on one, and then within 2 seconds I've switched teams, and that is just, it just goes so very fast. And I can just switch from account, I can just switch from account to another account, from one tenant to another tenant, and it just goes super fast. And that is my number one thing that I love about Teams. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, I can just switch around all the time. What else is cool here? So if I go to my settings page, of course, you've got that dark theme that you can set up. There are a few really cool things that you can do as well. So for example, if you go to data and storage, you can make your app a little smaller. If you got an older phone and the app is taking too much space, you can clear that out as well. But what you can also do is set the image upload quality. So if you're using this and you're driving around in the country, or you have to visit a customer, or you're at some kind of low bandwidth situation, what you can do is actually change the way how your images in Teams appear, or how they are uploaded anyway. So if you're in low bandwidth situations, you might want to set that into always send in low resolution, so that it works faster. I think that is a very cool solution for this. And then the second best thing that I like about this app, after the fast tenant switching, is the way how it handles my notifications. So if I go into notifications, I have this thing called quiet hours. And the reason why I love that is that this is my only phone. I don't have a work phone and a private phone, or I don't have a phone from customer one and a phone from customer two. I just have that one phone. And of course, in the evening or on Saturdays and Sundays, I don't want to be disturbed with all the notifications that I get from my Teams app. So what I can do is I can just go in here and I can just mark all the days that I want to have, that I don't want to be disturbed. Same thing for my quiet hours. And actually the quiet hours, that's pretty cool how that is set up. So I've never seen this kind of control before. So what you can actually do is first set the hours just by dragging this, and then you can set the minutes just by dragging this as well. So I just love how that plays out. That's just very nice to work with. So that is definitely my second the second coolest thing that you can do here is to switch those tenants, set up those notifications and those quiet hours. Yeah. So that was that. Let's jump back in here. So if we're talking about those quiet hours, Tony Redmond wrote a really cool blog post about that. There are a few gotchas, a few things that you need to know. So first one, it's based on device time. So if I'm flying to Tokyo, which is not going to happen these days with the whole virus thing. But anyway, if I'm flying to another place with a different time zone, the time on my device will automatically change, and the quiet hours will also change with that. So that is super cool. It's also something that you need to set up per device. So I just have that one device. If you have an iPad and another tablet and 3 phones, you will need to set up those quiet hours for every device. It's also not working when you're actively using the phone or when you're actually using the app, sorry. It only just works for Teams, so it will not stop any Facebook or WhatsApp messages from coming in. And then incoming calls will still get through, and urgent notifications will also still get through. So the urgent notifications, those are the notifications that will pop up every 2 minutes for the next 20 minutes. So those will still be there. So if you're talking or if you're working with somebody from a totally different time zone, please double check how you want to contact them because you might not want to disturb them while they're sleeping or whatever. So be mindful of those things. So how can we then still keep in touch while we're working from home? So Teams has that awesome chat functionality, and it still works brilliantly here on the phone as well. So if we just jump back in here, let me switch over to my test account, because here I've got a chat with my friend Lloyd. And yeah, this is my test account. Oh, Microsoft Edge has stopped working. You guys still hear me?
Yep, still hear you.
Through? Oh, okay, cool. Just had a slight error here. Okay, cool.
It's a feature.
It's a feature, of course. So I can just in the same way as I can do with my client app, of course, I just have all my chats, and I can just go and I can just chat with this person. Super easy functionality. There are a number of things that you can't do in the mobile app that you can do in the client app. For example, the mobile app doesn't have stickers, for example. It does have GIFs. So these things are still there, but it doesn't have the stickers functionality. Now, one of the things that I definitely like is the way that you can send somebody a voicemail or a voice message. So I can just press that one, and then it's actually recording, and then I can just send that person a voice message. But what I truly love about this messaging system, so you will find this in the chat, but also in the Teams, is the fact that it has Office Lens integrated. So I don't know if you ever used Office Lens before, but Office Lens is a way how you can take a picture of something, and it will automatically skew it and automatically make it so that it has the best possible angle. I use that all the time at conferences or when I take a picture of a whiteboard. And let me actually just show you. So I just want to send this person an image, and I want to take a photo. And I've got this book here on my table. So I can just say that I want to take a picture of a document. And now I can just take a picture, and what it will actually do is it will make it look like this. So I just love that. And then what I can do is I can do some annotations. So I can just say, for example, okay, and then let's just stripe this out. Good. And then let's put some exclamation in there. Okay, I'm done. And now I can send this to the person. So I can take a picture. It looks awesome. I can do some annotations, and then I can send that over. And this works both in Teams as in the chat functionality. So that is definitely cool. What else is super cool is the fact that, and let me just scroll all the way up. The fact that I can, just like in WhatsApp, swipe right on a message, and then it will actually quote that message. So I got this message here, like, could you take a look to that document that I just sent you? So I can just swipe that to the right, and then it will actually quote that message, and I can just say something back, and then it will actually reply to that message. And I think that is a super powerful functionality. You don't have that on the client app either, but you have that here, and I think that's definitely a very cool functionality. All right, back here. Oh yeah,
so just out of curiosity, for something like Office Lens, do you find that to be, I'll call it the best of breed? I know that other products out there have done similar things, and I guess part of it also depends on like what ecosystem you live in. Like if you're a if you're a Mac person, you might take a photo and just expect it to go into iCloud, or use one of the 6 million PDF scanner apps that are out there. But it sounds like in the ecosystem of Microsoft, or maybe even not in the ecosystem of Microsoft, you find Office Lens to be a champ that most folks don't know about in Teams.
True. Yeah, I absolutely love that. So if I was just in a meeting with a number of people, I can just take a picture of that whiteboard and just send that to the whole team, even to the people who weren't there, and that will just make it look awesome. So yeah, I definitely think that is a very big plus, and it's just baked in here. So that way I don't have to install something else. I have no idea what the specific capabilities for Mac people are. I don't know if they have like these built-in programs that could do the same thing. But I just love the fact that I don't need to think about this. I just want to send something to somebody, and I can just like automatically put that in the right way. So that's, to me, that is a big plus. I don't have to think about these things. It's just there. So to me, that's a big plus.
Cool.
Also, what I forgot to mention was also what you can do is if you just long press a chat conversation, you can either mark it as unread or mute it or hide it even. So that will also that could also help you. So if there's a meeting going on, there's a lot of chat messages, you can actually just like mute that if you want. Otherwise, your phone will go crazy all the time with all the notifications that it's that are popping up. So that's definitely something that I want to tell you as well. All right, so a number of limitations. There are certain things that you can't do. So I already told you about stickers that are not there. Also, I'm coming from a SharePoint background. So in the SharePoint or in the Teams client app, what you can do is you can add some metadata columns. You can do some nice conditional formatting. Well, that's not there in the mobile app. Kind of makes sense because you don't have the screen real estate to show all those things. But it's kind of a bummer that it's not there. I'm hoping that it will be there on the new Surface Duo that is gonna come out. Although I'm not sure if I just want to drop that kind of money into a new phone. But maybe that has more screen real estate, and that might show that extra those extra metadata columns and all those extra things that you can set up. There's not really a way to create an announcement post in your posts. Once again, kind of makes sense. If I want to do an announcement post, it's probably going to be a long text with some pictures and stuff like that. So I probably want to do that with a proper keyboard behind my big laptop. There's no way to post in multiple channels. There's no background blur for Android. There is one, well, background blur is rolling out for iPhone, but it's not there for Android. Meet Now functionality is not there. Very funny is that you can't edit a wiki. So every time you create a new channel in a theme, it's got a wiki page or a wiki tab there as well. You can see it, but you can't edit it on the mobile app. It's very weird. And also the way how it handles your hidden themes is slightly different. But we'll go to that in a second. Then again, there are some extra capabilities that you have. So I already told you about that easy and super fast account switching. I really love that because I'm a consultant. I work for so many customers, and this just allows me to jump from one customer to the other. The fact that you can leave voice messages is also a big plus, and that you can set up those quiet hours. Also, there's a better reply versus a new button. Well, in the client app, there's now this new conversation button rolling out. Well, if you just go back a few weeks ago, a few months ago, I know so many people, me included, that when they want to reply to somebody, that they actually created a new post or a new conversation. I still remember when I first became an MVP 2 years ago. Then I was added to the MVP teams portal, and then my first post where I wanted to, my MVP handler wrote down, "Oh, welcome to our new MVPs, this person, that person, that person." And I just wanted to reply like, "Thank you so much for having me." Of course, I hit that wrong button and I created that new conversation. So I absolutely felt like an idiot when I was introduced into that MVP community of experts. So whoops. But I'm sure we've all done that multiple times when we wanted to reply and just create a new conversation. Now, for the client app, that new conversation button is rolling out. For the mobile phone, it has been very different for a longer time. So you can already see that here on the right-hand side, that you've got those little reply buttons, but you also got that round purple button that you can actually create to use to create a new conversation. So that's definitely better. I like the fact that you can just swipe right to quote something. So that's super easy as well. And I also like the easy answers. So that's also something that is rolling out. You might know this from other platforms. I know LinkedIn has had that for quite some time. That when somebody's asking me something, and you can see that here in the middle screenshot as well. When somebody is telling you something, asking you something, that instead of just typing the answer, that it would already give you some choices of things that you might want to answer. And that is just, well, I'm super lazy, so that really helps me a lot of times. And of course, you've got the extra capability that you're working on your mobile phone. So that means you can just take it wherever you want to go. So if you're at a customer, if you're at home, if you're in the supermarket, doesn't matter. You can always reach everyone. You can start these chat messages. You can look at documents, things like that. So let's dive into the collaboration part of Teams. So we just talked about that whole chat thing, of course. So now let's go into our Teams work. So it's super easy to pin channels, for example. So the pin channels are the one on top, just like you can do with your client app. So I can just long press a channel, and then I can just pin it, and then it will automatically appear. If I want to get rid of it, I can just long press and then unpin it as well. This shows me by default just my teams, so all the teams that I'm working with at the moment. And then on the bottom, I don't have the, like in the client tab, I don't have the hidden teams button, but I've got some things called see all teams. And this actually brings me to my full list of all the teams that I have, including my archived teams. And there I can actually say, oh, cool, I actually want to have this one, and I want to have that one as well appear in my list of teams. And then it shows up here as well. So it's not the same as you have on your client app, but it kind of is. The idea is the same. So that works pretty well. You can also just create new teams as well. So if you click on those three buttons on the top right, you can just create new teams. If you have that on for your people, if you're using some kind of solution, of course, this will be different. But here you can just like type in the team name and then just select if you want it to be a public team or a private team, if you want it to be discoverable or not. So that is still basically what you can do, and then just create your team, and it's all created. So just like in the client app, super easy to create a new team. Then if we
curiosity, but how do you help to quell folks from going crazy and creating teams?
That's a good question. That's one
Besides
of those $1 million questions. Yeah. Well, there's so many approaches that you can take. So for smaller customers, I just want to do like proper training and adoption, make sure that they know what they are doing when they're creating it. I've got some multinational companies, and most of the time they're looking to some kind of solution where you can actually request something. So somebody has to approve this. But what you could also do is like work with the with some kind of auto timing feature. So everyone can create a new team, but after 3 months, you'll get, well, if you're not using it for 3 months, after 3 months, you will get some kind of email asking like, if you still want to use it, press this button, otherwise we'll just delete it. So I've seen that work too for customers. So if you and I just want to like work together on this document for 2 weeks, we can just do that. And I think that is super important, that if we want to do something, that we can just do what we need to do, and we don't need to ask IT, we don't need to wait 2 weeks until my boss actually says, yeah, that's okay. If we want to do something, we should just have the tools to just start doing it. And then if we're not using it anymore, then if then we get an email saying, okay, do you still want it? Otherwise, we'll just delete it. I think that's a brilliant solution for bigger companies. And for small companies, I just focus on training and adoption and just clear communication, saying, look, you can do this, but be aware that you might already have this, or that you've got this and this and this. So kind of depends on the company. Yeah. All right, so if we dive into our channel, so what you can also see is that you can have your private channels, for example. So on the private channels, you have that little lock symbol next to it, but you can also create these emojis in your channel names, as you probably will know, but those also appear on your mobile app. So if we just jump in, you will have posts, files, and then more and more are the extra tabs that you have. So in this case, I've got that wiki tab, I've got an Excel file, I've got a planner tab, and of course the Excel file that just opens up in your teams, and you can just work with it. So it's just like on your client app, same the same thing that you can do here. It's just not loading very fast. There we go. So I can just start working on my Excel file in my Teams. So that is just the same thing as you have. So the files part just shows your documents. Doesn't show all that extra, all those extra things that you can do. You can, of course, start new documents, so you can create folders, you can upload documents, things like that. And then on the post side, so you definitely see that reply button versus that new conversation button. And that new conversation button that just brings out all the icons that you also have in the chat. So one of the things that I definitely want to highlight here, and you also see that here as well, is that you can send a number of things. So you can send that text, you can send those pictures combined with that Office Lens, you can send files, you can send GIFs. But one of the things that is also cool when you're using a mobile phone is that you can also send your location. So if I'm running around, if I'm a salesperson, I'm running around and somebody asks me, okay, where are you? Or can you prove to me that you're actually at that location? Then you can actually share your location. So how I can do right now. So, and then everyone in the team can actually see where I'm currently at. So it actually proves that at 6 o'clock in Belgian time, I'm actually in the Netherlands. So that works. And it's true, I'm actually in the Netherlands. I'm at my girlfriend's place, so she lives in the Netherlands. So, and that just works. That works brilliantly as well. So let's go back here. Did I forget anything? So yeah, you can send praise, you can fill in forms, set notifications on that channel as well. So if I just jump back, you will see that I can actually, for example, here in this channel on the right upper corner, I actually turned off my notifications for this channel. So those are things that you can do as well if you don't want to be disturbed by all these things. So definitely a good way to work with that as well. Then for my next meeting, I'm actually just gonna show this with screenshots because I can't go into another meeting while I'm in this meeting, so that will just screw things up. I'm not very happy with the way how you can do meetings in the mobile application. So what you can do is you can see your calendar, you can create new meetings, you can join meetings, you can share content in these meetings. And I'm going to show you what I mean with saying that I'm not very happy with this. So I can just create a new event in my calendar, just like I could in Outlook or on my Teams calendar, where I can just have a title, invite people, set up a date and a time. So that is super easy. And I can also join an existing event. So I will have this join button next to my event. When the event is there, I can just click on that. I get this pre-meeting screen where I can actually say, okay, I don't want to show my video. I want to have my microphone on, or I can connect with one of those team room devices if I want to. And then I'm actually in the meeting. And the thing I don't like with this is that I have to choose between seeing the content that somebody's presenting or seeing the video cameras of people and the chat functionality. So sometimes I'm in meetings with a lot of people and there's a lot of chatting going on, and I actually have to choose. So you can see with that button there that there's a new chat, so I can switch to that to go to the chat window, but that will hide my other window where I can see other people or where I can see what content is presented. So I always need to switch between the chat and the webcams and the things that people are showing. So that is something I definitely don't like. I think that definitely has to improve somewhere along the way. So if I'm taking meetings, 99% of the time I will take them on my client app on my laptop, because it works on the phone, but just the ability for me to, or the thing that I have to do to swap all the time from chat to what is being presented is just, yeah, that just doesn't work for me. On the other hand, if you're somewhere along the road, let's say you're a sales rep and you're stuck in traffic, but you still need to show this PowerPoint presentation to a customer, you can just turn to Teams to do just that from your mobile phone. So you can just go into a meeting with your customer. You can say, I want to share content. And with that, you can just say, I want to share PowerPoint, and that will nicely bring up all your recent modified files. It will give you a link to your OneDrive, to your Teams, to your channels. You can just pick up the file that you want to present, and so check one, and then it will nicely bring that up to you. And you have these little arrows on the bottom where you can actually go to the next slide, to the previous slide. And even when you turn your phone into landscape mode, it will nicely fill up your screen, so you can just have all that there. So presenting is kind of cool. If you just need to present like a PowerPoint presentation or something, if you need to jump into something else for demo purposes or something, then it's not really super useful. But if it's just some slides, definitely worth it doing it that way. And then my last demo is all about shifts. It's about working the 9 to 5. I don't know if any of you used shifts before or know about shifts. Is there anyone who doesn't know what shifts is?
So I think, at least for myself and anybody else, please feel free to chime in. I had used it when it was more one of the, I'll call it small business functionalities that Office 365 had. And I know they took it, they transformed it into what it is in Teams. But we found it to be useful for like SharePoint Saturdays or other events where we needed to figure out how to staff people during certain spots. And while Isaac loves making beautiful Excel spreadsheets, that doesn't always pop up and let somebody know, oh, wait, they've got an appointment to go be a shift worker for those events. So we found it to be pretty handy, but I'll admit, I haven't played with it too much in Teams.
Okay. Well, I don't think that it's that different in Teams than it was before. So you still have that same basic functionality. Here, your shift is still linked to that Office 365 group. So in this case, it's linked to a team. I've used it with customers for their support team. So I had a customer and they had like an early shift for support people and a late shift. And we just used their existing team to add a shift onto that as well, so that they could just like use their timesheets in there. Allows you to clock in, clock out, to open up shifts or to request some time off. I'll just go very quickly through this then. So you can just see your shifts. And one of the things that I really like, so this is kind of your calendar of, these are all your next shifts that you need to work. And what you can do is you can actually go into your shift, and then you can see who else is working with you on that shift. And you've got this, you've got a chat button here, and you can actually chat with everyone who's on the same shift as you. So if you want to discuss lunch options, or people need to bring something, you can actually discuss that before your shift starts. So to make sure that everybody's 100% ready when the shift starts, and everybody knows what they need to know on beforehand. So I think that's a very cool functionality there. I don't know if that was there as well before we had the Teams integration. I'm assuming not, but it's very cool to have it there. Then you can, of course, request time off, which is super important. So you can just create new something, request time off, or offer your shift. Just say, okay, I just want to have some parental leave because schools are closed because of Corona. And then the manager needs to approve it. I'm my own manager, so I am definitely approving this. And then your employee will see that it is approved. So it will appear in their list of requests, things that still have to be approved, or things that are approved or denied will all come in there. And then to clock in and to clock out, it's super easy. You just press the big start button. Time starts running. After 5 seconds, I'm desperately in need of a break. So I can just click that break button here, which I really want them to change into some kind of pause button instead of a play button. Then I'm on my break. After I'm done with my break, I can just click that stop button. I'm back on the clock. After 25 seconds, I feel like I'm done with work. I told you already that I'm super lazy. So then I can just say, okay, I'm done. It will ask me to confirm my timesheet. And you can either confirm it or you can change it. And then at some point you need to confirm it, and then it's actually going into the timetable system, so into your something that you can get out as Excel there. So if you want to use this for your first line workers, people on the shop floor, one of the things that you could use, for example, is that SMS sign-in functionality if people are using shared devices. That's definitely useful. If you want to take a look at that, please do. Some of the things that are coming next for Teams Mobile, I know these are a few stupid things because in 2 weeks we'll have Ignite, virtual Ignite. So that means I will not be going to New Orleans, which is a pity because I had all my flights scheduled and I had a really cool big loft reserved via Airbnb. That would be awesome to have crazy parties in, but alas, it can't be. So we'll just have to do it in a virtual way then. But of course, in 2 weeks, they will announce so many new functionalities and features. A few of those things that are still coming up. One thing is the Walkie Talkie feature. I think that is amazing. So what that means is well, just like when I was a kid, I had a Walkie Talkie to play around with my sister. That was so much fun. So it just has this big button. You just press the button and you talk, and everybody in the same team or in the same shift can actually hear what you're saying. So they can respond by just clicking that button as well. Same thing. There will be some physical devices coming out as well. So just like people who are working in shops right now, they have this little earpiece with a little button on it. That will also be there for Teams devices. So that even when you're using Walkie Talkie in Teams, that you don't have to press that button on your phone all the time, but you can just press it on your earpiece or whatever that you have. Talking about devices, there will be some specific head-mounted devices for construction areas, for example. Super cool that you can just show people what you're seeing with that built-in camera. So you can actually show the architect, for example, why this is going wrong. I think that is very valuable to do that. As I said already before, background blur for iOS is already rolling out. I have no idea when it's coming for Android. That would be cool. And there is some work with the audio quality. So that's not just for your mobile phone, that's also for your client app. But of course, it will be more valuable for your mobile phone because you're walking around with your phone and you might end up in some kind of situation where the bandwidth is not good enough. And there are some really smart things that Microsoft has been doing behind the screens to upgrade that codec. So we had the Silk codec before, now they are calling it Satin codec, but it actually has some kind of AI functionality to detect when packets are being lost and how to, or what those packets would have been. So they can actually do all kinds of crazy things to improve that audio quality. Another thing that you've probably already used in your client app is the feature that you can create tags. So you can actually tag people or groups of people, and then when you use that in the communication, only those people will be notified. That is in this example that Microsoft gives here is that's a super powerful feature, because for in this case you've got an on-call doctor, and when you're chatting with that doctor when something urgent is happening, you don't want to send a message to the whole team of doctors. No, you just want to talk to that 1 or 2 doctors that are on call, so that not everybody gets that message. And I think that is super valuable as well. And then as a bonus, I don't know if anyone already played with this, but there's also a Teams version coming out for personal and family. It's actually in the same Teams app that you can use for work, and that will bring all those goodness that you have with working in Teams in your office to your family life. And some of the examples are you can just do video calls with people or connecting group chats. I know those are things that you're probably doing in WhatsApp these days, but there are a number of other cool things that you can do as well. So you can create lists, you can work together on those lists. Let's say if you want to plan a trip, you can just do things like that. You can share pictures and videos, probably what you're doing on WhatsApp these days. But one of the things that I do with my girlfriend is we share a grocery list. So if she goes to the supermarket, she brings some stuff. I'm driving home, I'm feeling hungry, so I just want to stop somewhere in the supermarket as well. I can just see all the things that she didn't pick up yet, or vice versa. You can organize your family calendars, and there's also this little vault functionality where you can store important information. For example, the Wi-Fi password, so that your kids don't always have to ask for it. You can have like insurance information. You can all store that there, so that in case something happens when you're on holiday, for example, you always have that important information with you. As I demoed before, you can share your location. You can also use that in your family. So for example, if you're driving back, you want to let your loved one know that you'll be running late, you can just share your location, and that works like a charm as well. So there's all kinds of cool things that you can do. Microsoft's really trying to be a great alternative to WhatsApp, just by incorporating all that Office 365 goodness. So those calendars, those files capabilities, and yeah, that co-working on stuff. So all those things that WhatsApp doesn't do. So that might be things that you can do in Teams. So that might be a good alternative. So definitely try it out. It is rolling out right now, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, definitely try it out and see if that gives you better capabilities than just using WhatsApp. So super well. So a few screenshots there. So to wrap up, there are definitely some benefits for every kind of scenario, for every role. The mobile app has some really cool features that you don't have in your client app, but it is also missing some features compared to the client app. Super important. Don't use the mobile app while you're driving. Definitely don't do meetings while you're driving. That's just not a good idea. And then to wrap up, don't forget to wash your hands and work from home. And if after this meeting, let's say next week or whatever, you still have some questions or you're trying something out and it doesn't work, feel free to reach out via Twitter or just connect with me on LinkedIn. Take a listen to our podcast. It's a very chill and relaxed podcast. So we're just trying to have fun there. It's not very structured, or it's also not, how do you call that? Not safe for work. We kind of swear a lot. So yeah, take a listen. If you're into podcasts, see if that could do something for you as well. And with that, that was me. That was stuff that I wanted to share with you. Are there any questions, any remarks?
So first off, I want to say thanks for sharing your knowledge. I know as a user of Teams, and I'm not a user on the Android side, but on the iOS side, there are definitely some annoyances where I'll call it feature parity is not all the way there. So I appreciate you calling out some of the things that aren't there necessarily in the Android side as well, just so folks, if they happen to bump into something, they're not caught off surprise. But one curiosity or question, and I'm happy to go research this myself, but all of those walkie-talkie conversations, are those, I would assume they're getting a recording made and then queued up on the other side for the person that you're having a walkie-talkie conversation with. Is that just stored as like a voice message in conversation history, or is that through some other mystical facet that we don't know about?
That is a good question. I don't know if you know Melissa Hubbard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So reach out to her. I just saw a tweet from her yesterday that she was playing with it. So okay. I didn't play with it myself because it's just rolling out right now. I think it's in public preview or just rolling out. So I didn't play with it myself yet. So I've got no idea, but I don't think the voice messages will be stored. So it's not like you're sending a voice message to somebody. Well, that's in my opinion. So I just think it's more like a short call that will be placed. But I've got no idea. So feel free to ask her. I'll reach out to her as well and ask her to share her experience on that.
Just curious. Thanks. And I think one thing you touched on, which I have not yet fully embraced, is the personal side of Teams, and that's mostly I'll call it a family and or friends adoption of helping them navigate outside of text messages.
Yeah.
But it definitely looks like it's handy. The other piece that at least would help for me probably is if they added it to the desktop app. But for the time being, it looks pretty cool. And that's I appreciate you kind of giving what your personal use case for it is at the moment. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea if they're actually going head to head with WhatsApp, but definitely in Europe, everybody's using WhatsApp to send each other texts or pictures or whatever. So I don't know if that really stands a chance to be a real something. I've got no idea. I don't think in Europe it will really take off, but we'll see.
Cool. Any other questions, comments?
Yeah, I have a question around do you use any of the third-party plugins, integrations, or bots or something on your channels, or that you find particularly helpful?
When I'm when I'm rolling out Teams, I always set up that who bot. So that bot that you can ask questions like, who did I email about this, or who did I have a meeting with? So that one is pretty fun, but that's kind of the only one that I use. So that's the only bot that I use, to be honest. Unless I've got some friends who are developing bots for banks and for bigger organizations to just do very specific things, to handle specific processes. But I don't have any experience with other bots right now.
Cool, thanks.
Okay, cool. Well, recognizing it's 6:30 p.m., which means it's probably time for a beverage of some sort.
Exactly. And you know what kind of beverage that we can brew very well in Belgium, so it will probably be one of those.
Yeah, but I do want to say thanks from the Nova group, and look forward to probably having you back in about 6 months to see what else is new with Teams, and knock on wood, maybe we can actually take it out on a road trip of some sort. So anyway, thank you so much for presenting with us today, and everybody, appreciate everybody coming out, and we will catch up with you guys in a couple weeks. So thanks so much.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.